In this video, I'm going to make a modern outdoor chair made from 4x4 Douglas fir. This video is sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. Now recently I went to my local home center and I couldn't believe it. I saw 4x4s there that was not pressure treated. The thing is, my local home center carry limited supplies and I don't have a lumber yard near me. So I was surprised to see these in the store for the first time. Now with the lumber being so bulky, it's much easier to use a miter saw, and if you don't have one, you can more than likely rent one, or you can just use a circular saw. Now these are all the pieces for the structure of the chair. 9 pieces for the seat and the arm of the chair. We have additional 3 pieces for the width of the chair, 4 pieces for the legs, and 2 pieces to support the seat. Recently, I added a new tool to my shop, which is an 8-inch joiner from Cut Tech. Now, I've been wanting a joiner for a very long time, and I don't want to discourage you. You do not need this for this project. I'm mainly trying to speed up my workflow. Now the main advantage I'm seeking from this is being able to take off some of the layers so I don't have to spend a ton of time sanding. And you can see here one side versus this side that's a little more smoother. I was actually in the market looking for a different brand of a joiner, and I was reading the reviews and they were mentioning this one, which I was unaware with the brand. But if you guys want to check that out, I'll link this down in the video description. Now since I know the direction I'm going to do all my prep work first before I start the assembly. I'm going to take 3 pieces of the lumber for the chair seat and I'm going to cut a rabbet on both ends. And while I have the table saw set up, I'm going to cut all the pieces at one time. Now after making the first pass, I'm going to set my table saw up again to make the second pass. Now you can run test cuts on scrap pieces of wood just to make sure you get this right. It's an outdoor chair, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Now there's many ways to do this. You don't have to use a table saw, so I'm also going to show you another method to accomplish the same thing. I'm using this thinner piece of wood as a guide because this is what the 4x4s would rest on. Now after tracing out that piece of lumber onto the 4x4, I'm then going to take a reciprocating saw and then cut this section out. Now you have a total of 3 lumbers to cut this way, so a total of 6 of these, 1 on each side. You can also use a circular saw or a hand saw. And right now we're still prepping the seat, so we have 2 more pieces to address, and these are going to be the outside of the seat. Later on in the video, you'll see where I'm going with this. But for right now, we need to cut this out. I also want to make sure to mark these 2 pieces together so I don't run into any mistakes. Now this will also be duplicated on both ends. Now you can use a hand saw and a chisel to cut this out, but I'm going to cheat a little bit by using a multi-tool. And with all 4 pieces being cut out, I can now test the pieces and make sure everything looks good. And now all the prep work is done. I'm going to start by setting up the arms of the chair. I am going to put glue at every joint in this chair, and this would not only make the chair super strong, but also you don't have to worry about any squeaks a few years from now. Depending on the wood glue you're using, you really need to apply the glue and apply a clamp right away. You don't have a ton of wait time. And one thing to keep in mind, if you don't have large clamps, you can use ratchet straps. To bolt this together, I'm going to use 5-inch lag screws. I'm only going to use 1 per joint, which also makes a great reason to use the wood glue. The next thing I did was find the very center of this location. Then I took a 7/8 bit and drill a hole approximately 1.5 inches deep. Next, take a small bit and drill in the center of that hole into the next lumber behind it. Now drive the lag screw from one lumber into the next one. Now repeat this going around the entire arm, and you should have 4 bolts per arm. Now just repeat the same thing for the other arm. So now I'm going to set up the 2 arms so that we can attach the back and also the bottom for the seat. In order to keep the seat the same height at the front and also at the back, I'm going to use some scrap pieces of wood. Now with these pieces clamped in place, I can now add wood glue and then clamp the structure together. Now take the same pieces of scrap wood and we're going to put those on the front leg so that I can set the front part of the seat in place. I'm also going to use the same method I used to assemble the arm to now attach the arms to the back. To hide all the lag screws, I'm going to use wooden dowels to plug all the holes. Then use a flush cut saw to cut down the dowels. And I'm going to repeat this step for all the other joints that needs to be attached. Now early on in the video I mentioned that this piece would make more sense later on in the video. Now these two faces on the 4x4 would be facing out and also up, and this is going to also hide all of the connection within the seat. So at this point I'm not going to glue these pieces into place, I'm just going to sit them there for now so I can then take that support piece and place that under the bottom. And this piece will be glued and also screwed into the back of the chair. Now these pieces of lumber will be spaced out within the opening of the chair right now, and I'm going to take some scrap pieces of wood to keep the same consistent spacing between each one of them. Now from the bottom of the chair, I'm going to drill out a few holes so that I can attach 2 screws per board. Now I'm going to jump back to the outer ends of the seat. I'm going to glue those up and also screw those into place. And now we're on to the next step, and I'm going to sand it down and clean it up the best I can. And while I'm doing that, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. I like to consider myself simple, and I don't like options. Just too much to think about. Why is this so expensive? What am I missing? What am I not getting? Personally, I really don't like the store experience, especially if I'm looking for a simple razor. And that's where Dollar Shave Club comes in. And for a limited time, DSC is giving away their Shit Shower Shave Starter Kit to new members for only $5, which includes their executive razor that has a premium weighted handle, a full cassette of cartridges, and 3 trial sizes of their most popular product, the shave butter, body wash, and 1 Charlie wipe. And after the first box, replacement cartridges are sent out to you for just a few bucks a month. This offer is exclusively available at dollarshaveclub.com/DIY creators. Now with all the sanding behind me, I'm now going to put on a layer of wood conditioner, and this is going to also help me reduce blotchiness on the final product. Now after the conditioner has dried, I have a few hours to put on the stain. Now I'm not 100% sold on the color, so I'm going to sit on it for a little while and then decide if I'm going to keep this color or darken it up. The minute I make that decision, I'll then be able to put on the final coat, which is a couple layers of polyurethane. So here's the finished product. At one point I thought the chair was a bit low, but overall I am happy with it. One thing you could change if you're planning to make this, you could make the back a little higher just by making the legs a bit taller. Be sure to check the video description for the dimension of the chairs and other details. Now my long-term plan is to make my own cushions, but for this video I went to my local home center and found some cushions. So hopefully cushions are not that hard to make, because it is something I want to explore in the near future. So here's some additional footage of the chair, and until then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.